Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up for you. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $2.13 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is off by 1.3%. Bitcoin, 57,800 plus, 2,300 plus for Ethereum, 118 billion plus market cap for USD Tether, USDC, 35 billion plus. Number 7 spot is XRP, 56 cents. We're up 4.9 on the 24-hour, and we're up 5% on the 7-day. So let's look at the range of price between 54 and 58 cents. We're sitting at 56 right in the middle of it all. We'll keep an eye on it. Very quickly, look, we've had a huge response from the audience members about this product, and it is the Spike Detox. And you can get it at the Wellness Company, and you can get it with a discount because I've got one for you in the link underneath of this video and all my videos. We know how hard medication was to get when things got bad. Don't let it happen to you. You can get Spike Detox right now. Take a listen.
I get calls every day of people saying, listen, I've taken 2 or 3 shots. I feel sick all over. I've had COVID. We now know that the spike protein is in the body for a very long time. There has to be detoxification. So far, the only available supplement that has a detoxifying capability with respect to dissolution of the spike protein is a Japanese product called nattokinase. Nattokinase, an endogenous oral thrombolytic basically proteolytic enzyme.
And it helps to get rid of the spike protein through dissolution. And this is huge. And not only that, but there's a medical emergency kit you can get with ivermectin, generic Z-Pak, and amoxicillin that every family member should have. You should have one for each family member. There's no kidding here. This is real because you know that they made this stuff hard to get when you actually needed it. Not to mention the fact that there are tons of other different products and supplements that you can get here. Spike Support Formula is the one you want if you want the dissolution for the actual shot. That is where you get this. And all of the products on here are at a 10% discount. So don't mess around. So many people in the audience have been taking advantage of this. It's remarkable. I'm getting great feedback from this. So make sure you check it out for yourself. Link underneath the video. Now let's start right here. Meta lawman James Murphy's in the house. He was our week in review guest last week. And you know what? He's announcing this. Bitcoin for Deton challenge. I just contributed 1 Bitcoin to defeat Senator Elizabeth Warren and elect Deton for Senate. Come on in. Now I'm challenging the Bitcoin community, particularly the whales, to please stand up for freedom and contribute in the next 7 days. Now, I can tell you, I'm going to be going on a big campaign with this. I'm hitting like, and when I get done my video day, I'm going on a campaign for the weekend to really try to help drum up support for John Deton. It is so important not only for the people of Massachusetts that they get John Deton as a common sense leader, but it's important because if we want American innovation to be a leader, we need people like John Deton in the Senate to educate the Senate on why this innovation is so important and how we're all going to get left behind if we leave everything up to the rest of the world in this new digital economy. This is massive. So we're making a call to action, and you could participate with this as well. You could tag the Tyler, Cameron, Winklevoss twins, which have donated already, and politely, and Tim Draper, and Novogratz, and Scaramucci, and Pompliano, and Brian Armstrong, and everybody else. We need to get all of these people to contribute because it wouldn't take much from either one of them to put John over the hump. He is so close to winning this Senate race in Massachusetts. He's done an amazing job. And we're going to help affect change to where we know that we've done everything that we can do to help John Deton get into that Senate seat in Massachusetts. Very quick update right here from Vet. He said, I was waiting for this. He says, new XRP Ledger proposal, which is XLS 81 and XLS 80 for permissioned decentralized exchange, this is absolutely necessary for institutions to only fill, for example, orders of KYC AML accounts. We need this to bring them not only on chain, but so they can also transact. So super excited to hear about that being proposed as well. So we'll keep you up to date when that passes, should it pass. Here we have the news from yesterday that hit just so hard. I think it reminded everybody in this down market that we got a lot of good coming to us, right? Alan Ortega broke the scoop that Grayscale announced they're going to launch the first U.S. XRP Trust, which is going to pave the way for a potential spot ETF. And that's going to be a closed-end fund, which means that Grayscale plans on owning the assets in the fund, is how I understand that. Brad Garlinghouse response right here to the Grayscale announcement. He uses the gif of himself. Yeah, that is great. And shout out to Brad right there. Was pleasantly surprised, says Brad Garlinghouse, to see this news, though inevitable as well. As I've said before, the with XRP having regulatory clarity in the U.S. and other countries, I expect it's only a matter of time for this space to grow. And he's absolutely right here, right? He's absolutely spot on here. XRP has the clarity. It is just a matter of time now that these investors, investment banks are going to understand that this is a great product to build on top of. And it's exactly what we've seen here with Grayscale. And I wouldn't be surprised to see very short term it blossom into a spot ETF application. Take a look at this. Paul Grewal from the SEC says that, Paul Grewal from the chief legal officer from Coinbase remarks about the SEC's footnotes. Oh, you're not going to believe this. Actually, you probably will. That's the sad part here. The SEC regrets any confusion it may have invited by falsely and repeatedly stating that tokens themselves are securities. This is the remarkable representation in footnote 6 of the SEC's amended complaint against Binance. Look at this. As the court noted, and as the SEC reiterates with its use of the term crypto asset securities, the SEC is not referring to the crypto asset itself as the security. Rather, as the SEC has consistently maintained since the very first crypto asset Howey case the SEC litigated, the term is shorthand. See Telegram case cited here. While helpful as a shorthand reference, the security in this case is not simply the crypto asset, which is little more than alphanumeric cryptographic sequence. The security in this case consists of the full set of contracts, expectations, and understanding centered on the sales distribution of the crypto asset. Nevertheless, to avoid any confusion, the PAC no longer uses the shorthand term, and the SEC regrets any confusion it may have invited in this regard. Let me tell you something. These people should go to jail. These people should go to jail. This is incredible. The SEC says it regrets any confusion it may have invited by inviting the term crypto asset security, but this was the logical and foreseeable consequence when they embarked on a make it up as you go along enforcement strategy. Where's the apology for destroying American companies, damaging our reputation for innovation, and crushing U.S. investors? Where is your apology to Jeremy Kauffman? Remember him? Yeah. He got done so wrong. I'm telling you, man, oh man, these people should be arrested and go to jail. This kind of recklessness? Are you kidding me? Destroying lives, futures, companies? It's unbelievable what we're witnessing here. And just, hey, sorry about that back there. That was my fault, Jesus Christ, man. However, Congress is still working to get the clarity, ladies and gentlemen. And Wiley Nickel on the left side of the aisle has done a great job. And we may be upset with Harris and Biden for not providing the clarity we need, but Wiley Nickel's not at fault. Wiley Nickel is a Democrat who is a advocate for cryptocurrency, and he's doing an amazing job, even going against the headwinds of his own party here. The Digital Chamber and Congressman Wiley Nickel office hosted a private policy-focused roundtable meeting that centered specifically on Bitcoin. The meeting was for House Democrats interested in learning more about the largest digital currency on how to legislate it. In attendance were 8 Democrat House members. Names were not revealed, and representatives were companies, as you see here. It was said to be a very productive and engaging meeting, and they're eager to learn more. That's where we are. But we need legislation, right? Well, check this out. Here is a panel with the Honorable Christian Carlo, and here's accompanied by the disgusting Jay Clayton, who is a despicable human being. And proves sitting on this stage, he still doesn't have the mindset and able to, or in order to understand exactly what's going on here to regulate this market and space. I have to play some. This entire 10 minutes is amazing, but I'm not playing it, so you can breathe a sigh of relief. However, I am going to come in here, and they talk about Judge Torres' ruling, and the gentleman on the end here is from Kraken. And I want you to understand that this conversation is super amazing, and no one understands this market more clearly than Christian Carlo. And I want to bring us in right... Let me bring us in right here. And it's a little lead in, but that's okay, because I want us to have it here.
Surely me. This is the ancillary asset approach, right? It says, look, capital raising transactions could indeed be regulated as capital raising transactions, but the products of those transactions, the tokens that come out of those transactions, actually very unlikely to pass the Howey test. And this is what 2 federal judges have now agreed on, and we think a third will as well.
Listen,
but, this is a solution, right? That is being proposed in the Hill. It's a political solution, just like the Securities Act was a political solution, just like the Commodity Exchange Act was a political solution to a very complex problem.
now listen, he's moderating this panel, but they're going to ask him to give his opinion on what needs to happen here. And he's going to cite the Ripple case.
Marco, I'd love to hear your views on this, right? So you actually are... No, the moderator. I was told... No. I'm going to jump in as a co-moderator here because you actually run an exchange, right? And you now are registered with what? Whatever, 50 money transmitters.
50,000 regulators.
Yeah, 50,000 regulators to be able to have this primary market. What do you think? What's...
This is the former CFTC chairman asking the gentleman from Kraken, what do you think?
the practical import for a company like Kraken?
Yeah.
And I think he's asking it because we all know, I think everybody on stage can't stand Jay Clayton. That's my personal opinion because I know I can't either.
The angel just got its wings. Judge Torres got it right. Judge Torres got it right. There is a fundamental intellectual distinction between an investment contract and the product of that investment contract.
I'm sorry, I have to have fun with this. Jay Clayton is sitting right beside him, and he just stuck it right up his ass, and I absolutely love it because Jay Clayton's the gentleman who brought the case against Ripple, and he got it wrong because Judge Torres got it right.
And it's not just an academic. It's a practical one because it speaks to the risks of each of those transactions. Just as you all were saying earlier, there is a full-throated disclosure regime that applies to capital raising transactions because there are investor-like risks that come along with those transactions. But at some point, those investor-like risks give way to user-like risks. If you want to invest in Ford, the return on your investment depends on the managerial expertise of Ford Motor Corporation. If you want to buy an F-150, maybe the engine blows up. Those are different transactions. Those are different risks. And I think that Judge Torres' approach in Ripple got it absolutely right. I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend. But
please
I think
offend.
Judge Torres got it absolutely right in that case.
Well, let me just jump in there because you say I don't think it did. I agree with everything you said. The question is where you draw that line between at what point it is still a capital raising transaction and at what point the transaction is based on the Ford 150 going to the show, not making a 50x return on the ticket.
Yep, I hear you.
But that's Beanie Babies, right? And lots of things that are part of whatever the SEC is like new ecosystem theory. The problem with not making this distinction between secondary market transactions, where the issuer no longer is promising the holder a share of profits, ownership, whatever, like a traditional security. The problem that it's very difficult to draw a principled dividing line between things that are clearly not securities, but are part of ecosystems.
So here's a principled way forward, which is your exchange. You guys do a terrific job, lots of transparency, surveillance, all of those kinds of things. The SEC and the CFTC could get together and say, if a platform meets these criteria, we're going to suspend these questions of classification in terms of facilitating of trading.
So maybe then, whereas federal regulation would be incredibly powerful and accretive to stable coins, laws would not be as effective as guidance or exemptions or some form of exemption.
What are we
in the case of secondary
what
market?
are we really protecting in the secondary market? If you have a good distribution where you have good disclosure, what we're trying to protect in the secondary market is manipulative trading. So if you meet those standards for a platform in the secondary market, that's a way forward.
Let me give you an example of why the lack of guidance is really hurting us as an economy. Because we don't have guidance as to what disclosure should look like. We're allowing the European Union right now to develop the very first threads of what crypto disclosure looks like.
Tell them,
just
Chris.
as the United States guided the world for the 20th century, because we came up with the disclosure regime with the 33 and 34 Acts that the world built on, this time around, by being absent at the switch, the Europeans are going to set the standard. And once those standards are set, the United States is going to be a rule taker, not a rule leader.
There it is. And that's why I believe Chris Giancarlo would be the perfect man to be the next SEC chair under a new administration. That's my personal opinion. And I did ask Chris at XRP Las Vegas 24 if he picked up the phone and that's what was asked of him, would he do it? He said yes. We'll see. Congressman John Rose has a proposal that would put all of this to sleep. It's a new bill to streamline digital asset regulations, ladies and gentlemen. And essentially, this is what it would look like. And guess what the name of it is? Are you ready for this? A Bridge Digital Asset Act. Yeah. The United States must provide a future where digital assets can thrive. The current heavy-handed regulation by enforcement approach isn't working, and instead encouraging investment is the key innovation overseas. Essentially here, the committee will consist of at least, if this passes, right, it will consist of at least 20 non-governmental members equally appointed to the CFTC and the SEC. Stakeholders will include digital asset issuers, registered participants, and digital asset-related activities, academic researchers, and users of digital assets. These members will not receive compensation. They'll be reimbursed for their travel when it comes to these committee meetings and so forth. And they will the bill mandates that the committee meet at least twice a year and provide its findings and recommendations to both regulatory agencies, the CFTC and the SEC. And it sounds like one more layer of crap in this thing. To me, just past the Fit 21 Act, right? Can we get that right? Because this is going to cause for another 180-day delay for 120 meeting, a meeting every twice a year, blah, 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 blah. To me, it's like, let's just pass the legislation and get this done. Now, I love that John Rose is putting forward legislation that keeps the conversation going. I just don't know if this is the actual piece of legislation we need, right? I think if we just get clarity. But check this out. Donald Trump says we're embracing the future with crypto, and in 3 days, they're launching a financial payment platform that is going to leave the slow and outdated big banks behind. Listen.
Join me live on Twitter Spaces at 8 p.m. this September 16th for the launch of World Liberty Financial. We're embracing the future with crypto and leaving the slow and outdated big banks behind.
And there you have it. Caitlin Long, who has been trying to get Custodia Bank a master key with the Fed account. Oh my God, he's really doing it. I can't wait to watch the Warren-controlled federal financial regulators in D.C. deal with this. Yeah. Donald Trump, you may want to get familiar with what the Fed did to my company, Custodia Bank. No question about it. And I think it's good because he's taken that fight and he will bring a lot of sunlight to what is happening with the manipulation on those Fed accounts. Caitlin Long should easily get a Fed account, master account for her Custodia Bank, but they don't want to do it because she doesn't do fractional lending, which would make the rest of the banking system obsolete in about 2 weeks. But that's the direction we need to be going. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. We're going into the freedom zone. You're going to want to come with me today. Oh, you're going to find out exactly what this administration's been up to from the moment they got the power. We're going inside. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. Go to digperspectives.com, click the Freedom Zone, and come on in. All right, well.